Hi again. New chapter in grade 11 math or pre-calc 11. It is um, sequences and series. So arithmetic sequence and arithmetic series. Um, so basically, the difference between a sequence and a series, everything is the same except if it's a sequence, it's you write comma between the terms, and if it's a series, you write a plus in between the terms. And usually in the sequence, we either finding how many terms we have, which is n, or the first term, or the common difference, or the nth term. So the nth term, basically, if I have a sequence, I could ask you, find the 61st term, for instance, or the 23rd term. So as the sequence goes, we have formulas that we could use to solve for these kind of things. For a series, it's the sum. So I'll ask you, for instance, find the sum of the first 17 terms. So instead of writing them all out and adding them up using a calculator, you could use that formula, the SN, and it will find out what the sum of, doesn't matter how many terms you're looking for. So this is basically it for this chapter. It's that's the basic concept. However, the questions could get a little bit tricky, so it depends what they're asking for. And so where most kids struggle here is if the questions ask a little bit indirect, then they have a hard time answering the question sometimes. So giving you examples here, so straightforward examples. Determine the 25th term of the arithmetic sequence given -2, -8, -14, -20 as for the first four terms of the sequence. So first, what you need to do, just write out what a is the first term, so it's -2 here. Also write out what d is, and d here is basically you go the second minus the first, so -8 minus -2 gives you -6, so that's the common difference. So you're adding -6 every time to get to the next term. And they say find the 25th term, so n is 25. So therefore, just plug it in into this formula because they're asking you to determine the 25th term, not the sum of the first 25th term, so just the term 25 or the 25th term. So you just go T25 equals a, which is -2, plus n minus 1, so 25 minus 1, times d, which is -6. And therefore, this is -2 plus 24 times -6, basically. So just go to your calculator, find out what this is. And the answer is -146. So it's as simple as that. Next question, determine the number of terms in the arithmetic sequence 5, 1, -3, and -11. So here, the question is not direct, it's indirect. So they're giving you the first three terms, and then they're giving you a later term. They want to know how many terms is it to get to this term. So basically, which term is this? So this term, 45th term, is at the 22nd? We don't know. So therefore, we still have to use this equation, except now you know A, which is 5. You know D. D is second minus the first. 1 minus 5 is -4. You don't know what n is, but you know Tn is -111. So now just straight 7 into this equation. So you have negative 111 equals 5 plus n minus 1 times negative 4. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this 5 to this side first, and that becomes minus 5. So it's negative 116 plus, I'm going to distribute the 4 into, sorry, I meant equals negative 4n plus 4. So I just distributed this into both terms here. Move the 4 to the other side, you get negative 120 equals negative 4n. Divide both sides by negative 4, and then n will equal 30. So this negative 111 is the 30th term in this sequence. So the next question here, it's a bit challenging. So you have to bring back some algebra from grade 10, solving systems of equations and so on. So they're giving you two pieces of information here. And also they want you to find the first terms. So here, they told you the sixth term is 10 and the 18th term is 46. So therefore, you need to develop two equations that you're going to work with. So let's just deal with, so they said T6 is 10. So what I'm going to do here, I know T6 and I know what T6 is. I know N is 6, but I don't know what A and D are. So I'm just going to sub in what I know. I know T6 is 10. So just to write the equation so that you could visualize this, T6 would equal A plus 6 minus 1 D. Since you know what T6 is, T6 is 10. So instead of writing T6, you write 10 here equals A plus 6 minus 1 is 5. So that becomes 5D. Now let's go to the other piece of information they gave me. They gave me that T18 equals 46. So the same thing, T18 would equal A, we don't know, plus N, we know it's 18 minus, so it's 18 and then minus 1 times D. Now T18 is given, it's 46. So instead of writing T18, just write 46 equals A plus 17D. Now I have two systems of equations here. I have this equation 1 and this equation 2. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go equation 2 minus equation 1. So I'm just going to write them underneath one another here so we could see them. So there we go. 46 plus equals, sorry, A plus 17D. And the other equation will be 10 equals A plus 5D. As we said, we're going to subtract 1 from 2. So therefore, you just subtract these, you get 36. The A's would cancel. And then 17 minus 5 is 12. So you get 12D. And therefore, D would equal, divide both sides by 12, you get D equals 3. Now, since D equals 3, now you go to one of these two equations, sub in what the D is to solve for A. I would use this since the numbers are smaller here. So I'm going to go 10 equals 5, A, sorry, plus 5 times 3, which gives me 10 equals A plus 15, minus 15 from both sides, and you'll get A equals negative 5. You could take your time moving things around. So Therefore, a equals 5. The first term is -5. And we are done with this. So we'll do one more example with the sequences, and then we'll do maybe another involving finding the sum and so on. So here, the next example, find x so that the values given are consecutive terms of an arithmetic sequence. So T1 is x plus 3, T2 is 2x plus 1, and T3 is 5x plus 2, since they told us that those are 3 consecutive terms. Now, if I'm just going to write a sequence for you here, let's say 2, 5, 8. Can you at least agree with me that the second term minus the first term should equal the third term minus the second term? As you see here, you're going to get 3, and here you're going to get 3. Because that's what arithmetic sequence is. The common difference between each consecutive terms, 2 terms, is constant. So therefore, this minus this will equal this minus this. So with the same analogy, that's what I'm going to do with this. Since they told me this is an arithmetic sequence, I'm going to go the second term, which is 2x plus 1, minus the first term, x plus 3, should equal the third term, which is 5x plus 2, minus the second term, which is 2x plus 1. I wrote brackets around what I'm minusing because the minus is going to affect everything inside here. So this will become 2x plus 1 minus x minus 3 equals 5x plus 2 minus 2x minus 1. I have x minus 2 here equals 3x plus 1, 3x plus 1. I'm going to move the x to this side and the 1 to this side. So if I move the 1 to this side, it's going to become minus 1. So that -2 minus 1 gives me -3. And if I move the x to the other side, it becomes minus x. So therefore, 3x minus x gives me 2x. And therefore, divide both sides by 2, and you'll get x to equal -3 halves. And so this is the number. When you plug it into here, it will give you a 3 consecutive arithmetic terms, or it will give you an arithmetic sequence. Okay. So the next thing I'm gonna go over is finding the sum of a sequence.